ClinTrial Refer pretty much anytime, anywhere, mostly at the patient bedside in my clinic or in multidisciplinary team meetings. When I'm thinking about what options the patient may have during my downtime between patients or in clinic. So I think it's, the beauty of the app is that it's accessible anywhere, anytime, and it's on my phone. So I use the mobile version the most.
Generally, I tend to use the ClinTrial Refer app on my mobile, and the context of its use is usually in our multidisciplinary team meetings, where we discuss the options available for patients with complex diseases and allows us as a group to decide on what would be the best option for our patients.
I had tried to identify appropriate clinical trials for my patients. And when I went to the normal registries, a simple search would result in over 500 clinical trials. 99.9% of them would be irrelevant. And the app now when the app was released, it allowed me to immediately search for the relevant clinical trials and get the appropriate options within seconds. And that improved both the capability of sending patients to other sites for clinical trials, which we would have attempted to do, but it would have been difficult and time consuming. And that streamlined process has improved cross-referral of patients dramatically through New South Wales and Australia.
My favorite part is that I'm able to get the information quickly as to what's available for my patients. So I can be a patient advocate. I can look on their behalf to find out what the best options available out there are. I'm not just relying on the trials that are available locally at my institution. I'm able to offer them a much broader set of opportunities or options if they're available. And it's really, really fast. It's very easy to use. It's just at the end of my fingertips. I recall a patient where we were talking about what options may be available. I looked through the app, I found a trial. I used the link to directly call the trial unit that the study was available on. And the other person on the other side of the phone picked up, answered my questions. We made an arrangement for the patient to go to that center then and there. And it was so efficient, so inclusive of the patient in that process. And they were just over the moon that it was so easy to do. So there wasn't too much inefficiency in the process and calling around, emailing, etc. So there, it does offer access to patients much more quickly. And they really like seeing the technology being used that way to make things easier for them, especially during COVID. Patients find it hard to come and go from one center to the other. This is something that really speeds up that process.
The favorite feature for me is the ability to narrow down the available trials according to disease group as well as locations, as accessibility to the trials is one of the key important features in enrollment for these patients, as well as the availability of the inclusion and exclusion criteria, which allows us to quickly narrow down what would be the ideal trial for my patient.
I'm a firm believer that enrollment in clinical trials is the best option for my patients. We know that clinical outcomes are better for patients on clinical trials. And the ClinTrial Refer app gives me the information about what's available for my patients at the touch of a button.
I think if a colleague is really driven, as you'd hope we should be, to provide comprehensive, modern and holistic cancer care, part of the management should be using appropriate resources to guide patients through their cancer journey. And I'm always inspired that patients who are diagnosed with complicated cancers or serious genetic syndromes quite selflessly in most cases want to contribute to medical research. And allowing this when appropriate can be a very ethical decision that has the potential to benefit the patient.